Instead, in the university, I got hooked onto learning languages, and through the meaning of learning. Excuse me, I got hooked on the Start again. I got hooked onto the learning of languages, and through that medium, learning more about the vast world outside my own country, the USA. Nevertheless, I was still very interested in helping others. Thus, in my final year in the university, I filled out an application to serve the U.S. Peace Corps, at that time recently established by U.S. President John Kennedy. Just a side note, this was back in June 1967. I served as an interpreter for the U.S. team, and in the finals was invited to sit on their bench as a ball boy or a water boy or an interpreter. And they played against the USSR, Yugoslavia. My job is to help improve the learning and teaching of English in countries within my region. From 1989 to 1992, I worked in black colleges of education in Africa and Namibia, helping future teachers.
There are many animals, you can see. There is a man and an animal. What distinguishes? Brain, speaking. So thinking, brain makes us to speak. So thinking and speaking, they distinguish man from the other animals. Is there any use of winking at a beautiful girl in the dark? It's dark and there is a beautiful girl. You are winking. Is there any use? There isn't. Speak. Enhance your speaking skills and achieve whatever you want, wherever you go. To survive successfully in a second language society or country is sufficient if you know to speak that language, isn't it? Of course, reading and writing are essential to avoid standing in front of them like an illiterate or idiot. Let us see the overall aims of English language teaching. There are three: to develop students' ability to use English language appropriately in a variety of real-life contexts, to increase the possibilities of understanding, friendship, and cooperation with people who speak English, and the third one is to develop through the learning of a foreign language students' self-esteem and self-confidence, and to enhance their intellectual and personal development. We have all these aims. Don't these aims aim at speaking also? Also, according to Rivers 1981, outside the classroom, speaking is used twice as often as reading and writing. But aren't we and our students gold pen and silver tongues, as Oliver Goldsmith was often called? We find it very difficult to speak a foreign language or a second language. To overcome all these shortcomings, teachers should plan and execute, I thought, pre-speaking activities, speaking activities, and post-speaking activities. I found some, and I divided them into three groups: pre-speaking, speaking, and post-speaking. They need not be pre-speaking and speaking and post-speaking. Just we can have it. It will be of some guidance to you. Let us see the pre-speaking activities. First one: teach your students classroom English. Look at Appendix 1. In Appendix 1, I have listed a lot of classroom expressions. Teach them these expressions, put them on a chart, hang it in the class, and don't leave it as such. Don't finish it within a day. Consistently encourage your students to use your English classes. And look at Appendix 2. Who is the most important source of spoken English for all the students, for most of the students? Teacher. So the teacher must use a lot of words, phrases, expressions. That's what you have in Appendix 2. Greetings, instructions, questions, disciplinary expressions. I have listed them there. We know all of at a stretch. You can't. By limiting the number of expressions the teacher uses in her class, she can help her students to learn the faster. They will learn faster if you use only one expression. For example, in an elementary class, even if the students' books are open, you could use the expression, open the book to page number. Then later, when they have learned this expression, you can introduce another expression, turn to page number. You know a lot of expressions. Use them stage by stage. The third one, teacher, can't you see, I want to speak. Every student has that on her lips and in the heart. Every student wants to speak. No student wants to be passive, listening to some brilliant student speaking and speaking and speaking. They want to speak. How can you do that? Doesn't a farmer water all his crops? Doesn't a mother feed all her kids? An awareness of lesson plan, interaction patterns, classroom management, and reflective thinking would enable the teacher give equal chances to all her students. What is the student doing? You can see the student wearing a mask. She is a shy student. So when she wears a mask, maybe she will be able to speak well, and she did. She didn't come up to the front of the class to speak. And she spoke. So try to ease your student. Remove their nervousness. Ask them to sit in groups. Allow them to sit on their seats and speak English. And ask them to wear masks if they need. Then brainstorming. Brainstorming is a very useful activity for warming up in conversation classes. You can brainstorm by simple word list. You can ask your students to list words to describe a person or to list the furniture in a house. Then finding alternatives for a blank in a sentence. I don't like her because you give like that. The students will give many options. I don't like her because she is talkative, she is boring. Like that, they will give you many options. Ask them to give. You can brainstorm on a picture. Show a picture. What are the people doing in the picture? Or list the objects in the picture. You can ask them like that. Brainstorming using a song. Ask a student to sing a song, an English song. Then you can brainstorm on it. Then this, almost every one of us knows word mapping or phrase mapping. You can give a heading or one phrase or one word in the middle, and the students can give all the other words which they think of that word. Then changing one word in a sentence each time. This is also a brainstorming activity. That is, when they change one word, that sentence should have a meaning. You tell them only that, and you can find it. You can find that they make a lot of sentences like this. Free association, predicting, group storytelling are some of the brainstorming activities. Of course, we teach grammar, vocabulary and all. There is one more thing, very important thing before you know to speak, before you learn to speak. Listen to the music of English, not music in English. This is said by one ESL expert, Kathy Hans. According to her, English language is stressed time. And there is a regular beat to the language as there is a regular beat to the rock and roll song. This beat or stress falls on important words, and unimportant words don't get stressed. They get squeezed between the important ones. But of course there are many dialects and dialects. But if the speaker doesn't use proper pronunciation, intonation, the listeners won't get cues what words are important, and then the thought is finished. Even our AVSEQ01 for speaking emphasizes that our students should speak with correct pronunciation, intonation, enunciation from elementary classes. ERPs. Yeah. When you do ERP project, the classes are there when you have in your school. You can see that from 5th elementary they should speak with correct pronunciation. Stress. We are giving awarding marks for that. So please do teach your students pronunciation, intonation, enunciation, word stress, and sentence stress. Another pre-speaking activity is minimal pair lesson plans. Minimal pairs like PB, TD, which is the most difficult minimal pair for most of the students in Gulf countries. They don't know to distinguish between P and B. So I have written in Appendix 3, I have written a lesson plan can use them in your class, and I think in future your students wouldn't make this mistake of P and T. Then we come to speaking activities. The traditional way of teaching speaking was called oral method. Oral method, you know, there were only oral English drills. The students were drilled again and again. They were taught only classes and few communicative functions. No, the student wouldn't be talking, only the teacher will talk and talk. Then two-way communication method came into existence. Both this oral method and two-way communication method, both are based on stimulus, response and reinforcement process, but two-way communication method is better because here the dialogues can be lengthened limitlessly. The dialogues between the teacher and the student or the student and the student, that can be lengthened limitlessly, and the students are more attentive because they want to give the correct response. You should provide information gaps. Information gaps provide better communication. You ask them some questions. So usually we ask, do you sleep every day? Have you had a haircut? These are display questions. Students will say yes, no. And the dialogues end there. Instead of asking display questions, you can ask referential questions. For example, instead of asking a student, do you sleep every day? For which the answer is universally known. You can ask a referential question. When do you sleep? Then there is a real transition of information from one person to another person. Usually there are two types of talk in English class. The teachers talk, posing a question, and the students talk, answering to it. But is this interaction? Interaction involves creativity, emotions, agreement, disagreement, waiting patiently to utter a word, sighing, nodding, gesticulation, and so on. In short, students are as relaxed as possible. So do teach your students to interact, not just talking. You know, there are different speech functions like imitative, intensive, responsive, transactional, extensive. To do them, we will have to do these methods. To carry out the speech functions, we will have to follow these methods like free talk. You give your chosen topic, students will be talking on it, and you can give them a topic, they can discuss on it. Even their own students, the students can come up and give lectures, debating, speaking and drawing. One student can say, it's a lion, it has a tail like that. Another student can draw it. Speaking and drawing, and it can be vice versa, drawing and speaking, or speaking and acting and speaking. Acting and speaking, if one student comes and poses like this, examining a patient, others will know it. She is a doctor, she is imitating a doctor, and what is she doing? They will be going on talking about it. Retelling. The students listen a lot, write a lot, read a lot. Ask them to read it, to retell it. Just ask them to get up and sum up what has been read, and they will do it wonderfully. You can see that. I have videotaped it also. Storytelling and role play. There are two kinds of role plays: situational role play and dramatic role play. Situational role plays are short, imaginative, and easy to control, and the classroom is full of laughter. We have all these things, all such situational role play in our OWTE books, speaking lessons. All the speaking lessons almost are based on the situational role play. But there is another role play called dramatic role play. Both are most for the shy students. They bring in a wide variety of experience to the class, and the students are able to express. But better than the situational role play, we have this dramatic role play. The process of understanding the drama is itself process of learning, and the students get access to the exact language spoken at that moment. Students enjoy being real actor and actresses. They enjoy it. Let us see two of William Shakespeare's characters. Hath not a Jew hands, hath not a Jew eyes, hath not a Jew organs on dimensions, fed by the same food, subject to the same disease. I'll kill thee. I love thee thereafter. Who was that? Othello. Yes, thank you. That was Shakespeare's Othello before killing his beautiful wife Desdemona. Such expressions I find every year in my third secondary students. When I asked them to enact some scenes from Oliver Twist, they not only enact the scenes, they write their dialogues themselves. And each group, I give them assignment to each group one chapter, and they come out with so many nice drama scenes. So dramatic role plays would bring in a lot of speaking ability in the students. You have reader, we have readers. Please ask your students to enact some scenes. The classroom will be lively and the students will become better. Now let's come to the post-speaking activities. Challenge your students to speak. See that you can get through the whole class students speaking only English. Then one day, the school assembly, in the break, everywhere, let them speak only English. Then how about a day, a week, a month, a year, and so on. Let them come to you. Always be an approachable person, nice, gentle, smiling. Don't criticize them, but correct them. Don't single out the students. And don't get frustrated or irritated when they are not able to speak English. Praise them whenever they are close anything to a good job. Why don't you just ask? Ask your student to prepare a list of people who are living in their neighborhood, who are friendly with them, who are close with them, and who can converse in English. Ask you watch English films, English drama, English news every day. Ask them. And ask them to imitate the native speakers, how they pronounce each word. Let them observe the mouth movements of the native speaker and let them follow it. Let them record their own voices on the tape recorders and you please check whether they have pronounced the endings of the verbs D, S, ED, etc. correctly. Help them to cook up persuasive speech. What is persuasive speech? It consists of 9 ingredients like this. You know, persuasive speeches can change history. Shakespeare's characters, Antony, Brutus, and the present day politicians are very good examples of this. If you know to speak well, then change the minds of all the people. They will come to you. For cooking up a persuasive speech, the students need many ingredients like this: body language, articulation, pronunciation, pauses, speech, appear rational, speed, volume, variance. When it comes to variance, I think of Winston Churchill. One of the remarkable qualities of Winston Churchill was he would start with a slow, laconic speed, then switch gears for a more rapid speed, and he was a very good orator. Then speed, when it comes to speed, you know the human brain and ears can decode and compile 400 spoken words per minute. If the listener is too slow, the listener's minds find other ways of getting themselves occupied. They do have a speed. Conduct English programs in the school assembly. Let them sing a song. Now this is retelling. Here the students retell what they have heard about holiday disasters. To encourage students' voices outside the classroom is very important for speaking activity. We conducted in our school oratorical competition for all levels starting from 3rd secondary to 5th elementary.